Now,
Biz Nasty says the Leafs will win the Cup.
how about that?
Can I just say that he's a Leaf fan? He came on this show and admitted he's a closet Leaf fan. So I think when you are making projections for the team that you are a fan of, you're a little clouded.
Just because the lack of recent playoff success, everybody's kind of nervous to make a prediction and put that weight behind the Leafs.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
It absolutely is. Thank you, Rick Regan, and welcome, Canada, to your favorite sports talk show. Your favorite daytime live sports talk show, and the only daytime live sports talk show. I'm Rod, and he's Moose.
That's right.
How are you, Moose?
Really good.
It's really catching on, isn't it, that nickname?
Yeah.
Moose.
And I wasn't until Rob Vanstone printed it in the Leader Post that I'm like, oh, it's in print now?
Moose DuPont, yeah.
Must be stick.
When you had that cold on the weekend,
Yeah.
did you have a sore throat?
I had the start of one, but it came and gone really fast.
Okay.
Like,
What's really fast? 24 hours?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Like it was, I didn't even develop into a sore throat.
Nobody would know by listening, I don't think, but yeah, I sort of feel like I got a cold coming on. So bear with me. And you know, what time was it? It was around 11 o'clock when we left the hockey arena last night.
Yeah, it was late.
Turn around and come back and do the show today, which isn't bad, except when you... Who's calling me? John Lynch.
Of course it is.
What a John Frank. You wouldn't... I should have hit answer and put it on speakerphone.
He should have.
Well, we're off to a rousing start. Welcome to episode number 453 of Canada's daytime sports talk show.
If it's your first meeting and you forgot to put your phone on vibrate, press 1.
Yeah, exactly. Coming up on the program today, Arash Madani from Rogers Sportsnet. He wants to talk a lot of Blue Jays baseball. Taylor Shire, our director of officiating, will be joining us, also of Global Television. And Richie Sutter of the Columbus Blue Jackets. That's coming up in hour 2. Shout out Winnipeg. Rob Somerville watching on Facebook. He says, Moose's jacket looks awesome. And for the listeners that don't know, you're wearing a Winnipeg Jets jacket.
Jets won.
Sweet.
Leafs lost.
And we'll get to that in the leftovers here. Wayne in Victoria, BC says, I'm just sitting back in my den watching the RP show and having coffee in my RP show mug. Great times. Thanks for joining us for Caliber Coffee today. And while we're talking about what we're wearing, I got this, what the heck? Tommy Bahama. I was going to say Tommy Hilfiger, but it's not. It's got it at an outlet mall in Orlando. And man, am I getting some wanderlust. Okay, I got to get back to Florida and soon.
I know.
Here's a great story, by the way. I got a buddy who watches the show every day in Vegas. I don't understand why we have thousands of viewers in Vegas, but we do. I think it's for the CFL talk. And he was a scout in the Jones Army. He's one of the Jones guys.
Okay.
And he says, I love when Chris Jones comes to Vegas because I pick him up at the airport and we go straight to Tommy Bahama. There's one on the south. You people in Vegas know what I'm talking about. South Las Vegas Strip. Not South Point, but around there. There's that mall with Tommy Bahama right off the strip. And Jones buys like 20 black Tommy Bahama summer shirts.
Yeah.
Right? Can't imagine what he probably gets a deal. They love when they see Chris Jones coming. Anyways, let's hit the quick six show topics, please, Director Gordon. Otherwise, I'm going to get lost in comments from our viewers because they're coming in like crazy on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and text. Phil Reese is watching in Miami. He says maybe the XFL will finally bring on the Manatees to South Florida. That would be a cool name, the Manatees.
Yeah.
That's the kind of bird, right? Or is it a fish? Or is it both? It's an orca? So like a walrus, you guys said? I don't know. It's a Florida thing. I suggest we go down there and find out for ourselves.
Yeah, I'm in.
Here's the leftovers from last night in the National Hockey League, keeping in mind that we were broadcasting a hockey game here on television. I did watch the first 2 periods of the Leafs-Oilers game, which the Leafs won in overtime, but Matthews versus McDavid it's magical. So, do you understand in Canada how lucky we are to have those two on television almost every night? Seems like every night that they're going against each other. Wasn't that the 9th meeting between the two?
It's sad because I think that was the last one.
Till the playoffs.
Oh, I can only hope.
Tank Abbott, one of our viewers, says a manatee is a sea cow.
Okay.
Who wins a series between Toronto and Edmonton? That's our poll question for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center, because inevitably Toronto and Edmonton will meet in the Stanley Cup playoffs somewhere down the line, probably round 2.
Yeah.
What are they saying on Facebook, Clark? And I forgot to tweet it. Do we have a result yet, or are we too early in the polls? It's okay. He wasn't ready for it. It's okay. What was Matthew Tkachuk doing last night? He was back checking, and then he just fell over and tried to sell it as that he got tugged down.
Yeah.
And what's going on with the screen there? Okay. Patrick Marleau, how did this happen? He's 10 games played behind Gordie Howe for the most games played in NHL history. He's going to hit it. Where did that come from?
I know.
And out of all of that, those are 2 Sask boys. Patty Marleau from Aneroid, Saskatchewan, and Gordie Howe from Floral, Saskatchewan. 2 guys, NHL all-time games played leader. And instead of dumping on the Buffalo Sabres like everybody else, I'm just going to say, are the Philly Flyers the comeback kids? No, Buffalo folded like a cheap suit, like a cheap card table last night.
You could feel it. Minute and a half to go, and they tie the game, and you can just feel the hearts being ripped out of the Buffalo Sabres.
Oh, it's gone.
It's gone.
They have no heart
Completely
left.
gone.
Moving on, can I just say this about Connor Bedard, the holy child? You people that tweet at me and say that you get upset when I refer to Connor Bedard, the exceptional player, as the holy child, and you what do they say? It's annoying or something on Twitter? You just make me want to do it more when you do that. But anyways, the exceptional player last night had a goal and 3 assists. He's 15 years old in major junior hockey. He's got 17 points in 9 games. You wouldn't want to put a highlight of that on SportsCenter, would you? TSN or Sportsnet connected? Really? Oh, no. Let's talk about the soccer team routing the Cayman Islands 11-0. Or whatever it was. If you want to know why Canadian sports fans are being brainwashed and Americanized, blame TSN and Sportsnet. Sorry to say. Anyways, point 3, CFL, XFL leftovers. And I love me some leftovers, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
You and I were talking about this 2021 season, and I got to think there's going to be an announcement coming very soon on either a suspension of training camp or an outright cancellation of the season. John Frenzia said May 1st, he heard, is the drop-dead date for an announcement on a season in 2021. You roundabout agreed. Are you not expecting an announcement at some point here, imminently? Yeah,
we are 6 weeks. I was just pulling up the calendar to make sure, away from what's supposed to be the start of training camp, maybe 6.5 weeks. And, from players we've spoken with and, just understanding timelines and everything, if you're near your city, you're going to play in. So if you're in Regina or around Regina, you're playing, you probably need 3 to 4 weeks to get everything in order, get in camp shape, all that kind of stuff, some notice. But if you're coming in from out of country, if you're an American, we're hearing they need 6 to 8 weeks. We're 6.5 weeks away from what's supposed to be the start of training camp. So unless we hear that it's starting on time now, it's already too late. Like, it would already be too tight to get it in and get everybody ready and down here in time and quarantined and everything else that needs to happen. 6 to 8 weeks. So we're already past starting the season on time. It's over.
Yeah, so where's the announcement? That's all that I'm saying.
Yeah. Because I think the reason maybe there might not be an announcement, do they have a backup plan? Is it delayed 2 weeks now? Is it delayed a month? You got to decide. What's the first hurdle? Are you going to delay it all the way to Labor Day now? Or are you going to say...
You don't have to do anything. You could say it's suspended indefinitely.
There you go.
Which would, I think, allow some people to get on with their lives. Anyways, from our viewers, Jeff, Stamps fan in Calgary, says, I saw several members of the Stamps working out on the historic McMahon turf on Saturday. Cool, you got to work out somewhere. From J. Rod says, morning, guys. Did the Pats win? Yeah, they did. I'm getting to that. 9-4 over the Swift Current Broncos last night. The Holy Child. A goal and 3 assists. John Campbell says, love the show, Rod. Keep up the good stuff. And I want to introduce a new thing here called viewer mail. Why not?
Yeah.
We can do whatever we want. Sponsored by U.S. Postal Service.
I like it.
Something like that.
FedEx.
So you see the mail as it comes in just like I do. Here's one. Hey, Rod. I hope you and the team are doing well. I'm 29 and from the Toronto area. I just discovered your show last September 2020. I love it. I love all the Canadian sports content from CEBL, CPL, CFL, SJHL, AHL, and WHL. You guys keep it real. Reminds me of The Score back in the 90s. I grew up playing football, started watching football as a kid. I guess it's strange that a 20-year-old is into the CFL, but I think that's the problem with the CFL prior to COVID. Mark Cohan did a great job focusing on the grassroots. I remember there were huge changes in how youth football was supported under his tenure. I think it's trying to reignite the passion for the support amongst the grassroots and investing in it, not just the players that retire and investing back into their communities. He goes on and on and on, but says, thanks, boys. Keep up the great work. Much appreciated. Daryl in Toronto. How about that? And he's 29. They're dying for CFL talk. That's the one thing that we know, right?
Yeah.
And can I say one more? This dude, Brad, I don't want to embarrass him here. But he sent a proposal for how the CFL should play. And he actually linked it. It was a news link in the XFL News Hub website, XFL News Hub. Don't send this stuff to me. Send it to Randy Ambrosi. Don't you know, I told you a guy in Phoenix wrote me like a 30-point plan how to save the CFL. I'm like, what are you telling me for? It reminds me when I walked into Starbucks several years ago is when Chamberlain was coaching the Riders, and John Frenzy was there with one of his buddies. And they're like, hey, Rod, have a look at this. We got the roster pick. It was just like 10 days into training camp. I'm like, why would I care to look at that? You're not the coach. And then the look, I just broke his heart.
I know.
But I'm like, if you want to go pick the team, go ahead. But I don't care.
Don't give me the book. If you're going to do it, because...
Go give it to Chamberlain.
But you want us to talk about it on the show, and maybe it is a great plan and we can talk about it. But we need the Coles notes.
Right.
Not the book, not the manuscript. We need the Coles notes.
This is pretty much Cole's notes, by the way. He says schedule begins in early April. The first 10 games, the XFL and CFL play a few interleague games, followed by a 2-week CFL-XFL playoff championship series in July. The XFL season is over. CFL resumes their regular season for the following 8 weeks. That sounds kind of confusing to me. But again, that came from the XFL News Hub site. But that's figuring out how this is going to work is not something I spend any time on, and I'm not going to spend any time reading other people's plans because I got other things to think about. We got a hockey game tonight. It's a Trans-Canada Clash, baby. The Hub Center's going to be rocking.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, from Trevor Basillo. He says, how come there's not more talk of Ehlers on the Jets? He's great. Trevor, come on. We can't talk about everybody. I saw the Ehlers move last night, and that was just absolute filth. The fake drop pass, then kicked it up to himself, went around Jacob Markstrom. Listen, the Jets are good. That's not a news flash. We can't stroke them in the leftovers every day. And I guess, might be a good poll question. People were upset this morning when I tweeted who would win in a playoff series between the Oilers and Leafs, and people are like, what about the Jets? Well, they'll be in another playoff series, okay? We're just talking about two other teams. Come on. 10 days ago, you wanted to fire the damn coach and run him out of town. And now you're wondering why they're not getting more, not you specifically, Trevor, but come on. I'm not tagging along for the roller coaster ride of Jetsville. We're on the Jets train, okay? But there are other teams. Couple other things for opening day, Major League Baseball. I think we're all getting excited for it, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Jays Yankees on Thursday.
Yep.
Yankees will be the Blue Jays' first victims. Arash Madani will be joining us in the next block to talk about that. Primarily Blue Jays talk with Arash. Point 5. How about this one? Kyle Borsa of the U of R Rams. If I read this correctly, because you and I are both guilty of the fact that we're headline readers, right? I didn't read the whole story, but the Regina Rams had their pro day, and Kyle Borsa ran a 4.38 lasered 40-yard dash. And, of course, there's that football bias of, well, it's just Canadian University, and he's Canadian, which is wrong. 4.38 is 4.38. If I have the time right.
That's right.
I had a scout in Mississippi write me. You know who he is. football scout, and he's like, man, do you think an NFL team will give this guy a look? 4.38 is 4.38. I don't care where you're from. But as a lot of guys have said, whether it's a 40 time or a bench press or a vertical, they're not bench pressing at the 50-yard line. And that's not to say Kyle Borsa isn't a tremendous football player, because he is. But do you think underwear Olympics, a tremendous showing in underwear Olympics, would earn a guy like Kyle Borsa a tryout in the National Football League? He's going to get one in the CFL for sure. Drafted.
Earn him a look.
Yeah.
Won't get him drafted, I doubt. Maybe late round flyer, but probably won't get him drafted. But it might get him a camp invite. That's a number that might get you a camp invite to a mini camp or possibly to training camp. I think that's tremendously exciting. But you're right. They've shown, in terms of the wide receiver class, they showed the top 40 times in the last 5 years. And it's rare that translates to on the field. I mean, I know the explosiveness and, separation speed and all of that, but the top receivers in the NFL didn't have all-time top 40s and didn't have all-time combines.
It's the truth.
Right? You have to be able to play on the field.
And that, again, we'll see what happens. Tavon Campbell of the Chargers played for the exact same football team, and he's been in the NFL now for, 3 years? Had a pick 6 this year?
Also tested off the charts. He's fast.
Right. So, yeah, that's not to say there isn't, but he's going to need the right possibility, right opportunity, the right chance, and maybe be asked to switch positions, which I'm sure he'd be willing to do. And the last point is something we will face off on later today, okay? And that is, should 7 teams in the Dub Hub, all 7, get into the playoffs, if there are playoffs? We're starting to hear more and more that there will be playoffs. Why not? Should all 7 go in? What's your quick answer?
No.
You're going to have to change that to yes, because I say no.
Okay, I'll change it to yes.
Anyways, the face-off coming up a little later on. But Arash Madani is next. This has been the warm-up. Hang on. For the Four Seasons Sports Palace, he has asked me to change up the tagline. Here it is. Order a fabulous Four Seasons pizza and your favorite beverage for takeout and delivery. One-stop shopping. Call or order online. Four Seasons Sports Palace, because the restaurants are closed, y'all. Hopefully not for long. You're watching the RP Show on Game Plus TV, YouTube and Facebook Live, and 24-hour sports talk for Suds Full Service Car Wash at rodpedersen.com. Listen live.
You're watching Rod Pedersen on demand. For more of the Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.